World Wide Web. Welcome to the Hangin with Web show right here on HWWS WebTV. I'm GW Pomichter, your host, and we are here right now hanging out with authors at the Authors for Authors spring event here in Melbourne, Florida. We're hanging out with author Laura McCarthy, the author of Mess to Majestic. Mess to Majestic. Okay, I can already see that's going to be fun to talk about. So, guys, come on in and let's go for a ride. All right, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We talked for about a half hour before, and I told her all about me. Now she's going to tell you all about her. Then you can tell me all about you. I don't know how that's going to work. Never mind. Just keep up. Laura, how are you today?
I'm awesome. Thank
awesome.
you.
Great.
Yes.
Welcome to the set. Tell us a little bit about Mess to Majestic.
All right. Well, so it's interesting, but when you think of mess, sometimes you think of your household being messy. But this mess is about your life being completely messy. If I asked you...
It's like she knows me.
Uh-huh. Do you, when you look at me, think, that woman's been in jail? What a mess her life was.
You know, I wasn't going to say anything. No,
But,
I don't think. I actually,
well, that's good,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Because it's amazing. My life is completely transformed into a majestic life. So I came out of an alcoholic home, and it was really messy. And so I, of course, did what my dad did. I fell into that lifestyle and started drinking and drugging at a very young age. I was addicted at the age of 11. And wow. Yeah, and went completely off the chain. Was that a poor choice? Yes, it was at the beginning, but what I didn't know is that I have a brain that's predisposed to wanting more. My drug of choice is more, I don't care what it is. And by the age of 24 years old, I was sentenced to a year in the state penitentiary as a habitual offender in the state of Colorado, and was strongly suggested by my attorney that maybe I check out one of those 12-step programs where they were talking about God, who was my arch enemy. In fact, I believe...
At that age, yeah, yes, arch enemy is a thing.
Yes.
Anyone that doesn't agree with me at that age is my arch enemy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So a series of events happened, and I ended up seeking that power, and I had an experience. And it was the beginning of a complete transformation from addicted to recovered. I have 35 years, one day at a time. I went on to become a licensed professional. I'm a mental health counselor and a certified addictions professional in the state of Florida. I am considered an expert in my field. I am working very hard on breaking the stigma of mental health and addictions in our state and in our nation. That is my passion, to restore hope to the hopeless and stop the stigma of addiction. Yes, addicts make poor choices, but why do they make poor choices? Because their frontal lobe is shut down, their brain is damaged. They're not just getting up in the morning and say, I think I'll go make some really poor choices today. They get up in the morning and they have no thought whatsoever about what's going on in their life because they're activating out of the pleasure center. And once that center takes control, they don't have choice. They have craving and consequences. And it's devastating. And, you know, today we have, right now in our nation with COVID happening, we have a 300% increase in liquor sales. We often talk about the opioid epidemic, but we're not talking about the alcohol epidemic. We have 80,000 people that die of alcohol-related deaths every year. Right now we've had a 300% increase in alcohol and liquor sales in our nation. And just in the last few weeks, I've had a couple of calls from friends and family members who have lost another loved one to addiction. So yes, COVID is a horrible thing, but addiction is killing people left and right.
And I think one of the things that is lost on a lot of people out there is that, first of all, organic addictive personality disorder, which is an actual thing, guys. Some of our brains are wired to be addicted.
That's right.
I know mine was, so we forget that that's a thing, but we also forget that lifestyle is a part of building an addictive personality, and we have a modern lifestyle that lends us to addiction. When you have disposable income, you have disposable time, you have disposable energy, you put those three things together and you build whatever you're addicted to. Some of you are addicted to science fiction or YouTube or Facebook.
Oh, electronic crack.
Electronic,
absolutely.
that's right. And
Applause.
then some of you,
I wonder how many of our athletes now are going through withdrawal that
because
they don't
have their audience. That's right.
One of my favorite athletes in recovery is Vance Johnson, and he's just started Vance Johnson Treatment Centers in Vegas and in Kissimmee. Very exciting to see him, you know, reaching out to, you know, the professional population that is struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, we have suicide happening. Why is suicide happening?
When you take away all the things that we're addicted to, say for the last 5 months, as we dealt with COVID-19. When you take away all the things that we're addicted to, it is a natural assumption that we will find new addictions, as in a rise in alcohol sales. We do not have statistics on it because, well, we can't because it's illegal, but I will guarantee you a rise in narcotic sales.
Oh, absolutely. Our overdose rates in Florida have increased an incredible amount over the COVID period. And of course, when we look at the opioid epidemic, the really sad thing about drugs on the streets these days is back in the 70s when we bought drugs, we knew what we were getting. You got what you bought. But today, when you buy a drug off the street, it could be laced with fentanyl or carfentanil, which is 10,000 times more powerful than morphine. And first-time drug users will overdose and die unknowing that the pill that they bought was a counterfeit. It wasn't the true thing, and it's laced with all sorts of chemicals.
Things, yeah.
You know, the $5 insanity, Flocka. It causes instant psychosis. This causes brain damage.
Wow.
Addicts damage their brain with chemicals, and they may have a predisposition, but we also know that there's people that have no predisposition, have no family history. It's still a mystery.
But once they try or experiment or whatever, once you start the process of damaging your brain organically and training your behavior in an unhealthy way, it's a dangerous slope to tread on.
Absolutely.
In my case, as a young person, it was a bad idea for me to try and experiment with, as most young people do, alcohol. I didn't realize my predisposition was there.
Right.
So, of course, I was 19, 20, 21, and so gratefully I am, oh, wow, cool. That's awesome. I am 28 years. 28 years, absolutely.
Oh, congratulations.
Stone cold dry, guys.
That's awesome.
I've been boring for 28 years, and I'm proud of it. But yeah.
We call it happy, joyous, and free.
That's right.
Not boring.
It is. That's right.
There's not a boring moment in this lifestyle.
It isn't. It really isn't. It's
Right.
fantastic. What made you want to write and share your journey with people?
So, you know, for years I've had people come up after hearing my testimony and say, oh my gosh, you need to write a book. And about 6 months ago, I was doing a radio interview on the benefits of counseling, the benefits of biblical counseling. And this man came in from the audience and he knew nothing of my history. He looked square at me in the face and said, you need to write a book. When is it going to be done? And I just was like, wow, I took that, it's time. And I felt like with our opioid epidemic being so out of control, it was time. It's time for people to hear that there's success stories out there. It's time for people to know that you don't have to die of addiction. It's time for people to know that addiction is a real disease that is treatable. And that if it's not treated, it is a hopeless, chronic, fatal condition that can kill you. And they say 95% of addicts do die of their disease. So the twist with my book is not only is it memoir style, but I also couple it with biblical and clinical insights. So I add the neuroscience piece. I add, you know, the information about what makes the brain different. Now, we still don't know why some people get it and some people don't, but what we do know, it's in this book, what we do know about the disease. It's also focused on codependency, which is a behavioral addiction. So many people don't understand that the co-addict is as sick as the addict. That when they have a full-blown obsession for their addict, where are they? What are they doing? Did they call? Did they go to work today? What are they? That obsession will completely hijack their life. I just spoke with another woman a couple of weeks ago whose son was an addict, and she almost committed suicide over his addiction. She didn't have a problem. He had the problem, but she got to such a place of hopeless despair in his addiction, she wanted to die.
Wow.
And so we know that codependency is a whole nother addiction that needs to be treated. And so many times in treatment programs, they focus on the addict and not on the family. The family needs treatment as well as the addict. Everybody gets sick in the family system.
And the more we learn about addiction, the more we learn that it doesn't exist in a vacuum, that we do have those that we affect by our addiction.
Absolutely.
But we also, our addiction didn't happen in a vacuum. It came from somewhere. And so there is a tendency, again, if you have a parent or a loved one or somebody who is, has that, tendency toward addiction and no place to place it, and you're the addict, they will place that in you. They will become addicted to your addiction and into treating you and helping you and pushing
caretaking
you.
And fixing and managing, yes. and it makes them sick.
Yeah,
they lose their life.
It's behavioral crack.
Absolutely,
for them.
It is behavioral crack. I like that. Let's coin that, behavioral
there you
crack.
Go.
That's
and
good.
So,
That's so true.
It is. We are.
But the whole time the denial is, oh no, I don't have the problem. They have the problem. Look what they're doing. Look what they've done to me.
They're making me crazy.
Not true.
It's not true. You're making you crazy. That's right.
right.
You're already crazy.
I have to own my crazy. If I can own my crazy, then I can
fix your crazy.
That's right.
If you can own your crazy, you can fix your crazy, right? That's right. It's true, everybody. Guys, I will tell you right now, here on the Hangin with Web show, we feel really passionate about this issue as well as Laura does. And you know that we've had several guests on that are talking about it. And whether your journey is a spiritual one or a physical one, whether you're getting therapy, whether you're getting counseling,
yes.
whatever your journey is, we're right there beside you. I have been on your journey. More than that, many of our guests
yes.
have been on your journey. Laura has been on your journey. Check out this book. We're going to put a link down below so you can check out Mess to Majestic and more information about Laura and her journey. So check that out. Also check out on the Hangin with Web show, HWWS WebTV, check out, we have an interview with Claudia Christian where she talks about the Sinclair method, which is about a medical treatment method for addiction from alcohol to drug disorders. So check that out too. We have many places where you can find information on this, but check out the links down below.
Yes.
Check out Mess to Majestic. Learn about Laura's journey from a mess to a life of majesty. Wonderful. I love the way you titled that. We want to thank our partners and friends at Famous Faces and Funny. Space Coast Comics, Hearts Helping Others of Central Florida. That's people right here in Central Florida helping their neighbors. Thank you to Brevard Film and Talent. Thank you to Mommy and G Creation for all of our merch. And of course, JBauerArt for all of the art that adorns our set. Thank you all for tuning in, for logging on. Come back over and over again to see who we're hanging with next. Awesome. Thank you so much.
That was
amazing.
amazing.
Thank you.